Thanks for coming in, ma'am.
It's a pleasure. Yeah.
So, take us through the top numbers. I mean, those statistics look scary, but what scared me even more was the global number of how much people have lost, close to 1 billion.
Yes, absolutely. So we certainly saw an increase in card fraud, 18% overall between both credit card
These are
and
all
debit
cards,
card.
yes.
Yes, debit and credit card. Credit card was slightly more, just about 0.5% more than debit card. But yes, we saw a total gross loss of just over 873 million. Certainly very concerning for us, for our banks as well. And of course for bank customers, most importantly. But I think the important thing is that while we've seen a lot of this happen on the in the digital space, and you've mentioned issues around technology, I don't think it's a new area, but I don't think it's from a banking perspective, those platforms have not been compromised. So that's very important to know, that there has been no compromise of the banking app, of a mobile banking app, of online. What's happened is that criminals are getting access to bank customers' information, which enables them
So they have
to
not broken through the system.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
They're stealing information. They're acquiring it through a whole lot of sources, whether from social media platforms. They harvest personal information and bank confidential information in so many different ways. And what we're seeing at the moment is phishing and vishing being at the top of the...
Did you say phishing and vishing?
Yes, I'm going to tell you about vishing.
Okay, please.
So phishing, they're all the same thing really, except the means of communication is different. So with phishing, it's emails. The perpetrators send out a whole host of emails to any possible bulk address list that they have, with the hope that they'd get enough people to respond to make it lucrative for them. Vishing is with a V. It's V-I-S-H-I-N-G.
Yes.
So we always say equated to voice, V for voice.
Oh, I see.
It's a call.
Okay.
You get a phone call where somebody would purport to be a bank. Most often they purport to be the bank or any other reputable company. They would talk to you in such a manner, using all the social engineering tactics to get you to an emotional state that causes you to provide them with information unknowing to you that you're actually communicating with the criminal. And they solicit all of this personal and banking information. They want things like your bank card number, the name on your card, your password, your PIN number, your CVV number, your expiry date. It enables them to do online transactions.
Things the banks will always say, we do not give out. Let's re-emphasize that.
Even if you get a call purporting to be from a bank, put the phone down. Our advice to people is put the phone down, because the bank will never call you to ask you to verify your CVV number, your expiry date, what is your PIN number. Not for any reason whatsoever will they call you to ask you that information.
I don't know if you have done some analysis on my next question, but I wondered if I'm understanding you correctly. Most of the fraud that is taking place is as a result of the customer, not because of the banks.
We haven't had a single instance of where any of those platforms have been compromised. Not one. So we've had all of it.
It's
is
our
what's
fault
happened.
as customers.
Well, I think
to an extent.
It is, and unfortunately, the risk does lie with us as individuals.
Yeah.
Most often, unknowing to the bank customer, they're providing this information, thinking they're giving it to someone authentic. What we're saying is, you never ever have to give that information to anybody. Even when you're transacting online, make sure that you're on a safe site. Look out for all the security features. 3D secure is important, to verify.
Absolutely. Let's talk about lost and or stolen debit card fraud. And that was up sharply, 42.5%. How does that work? And who's at fault again?
So what's happened here, unfortunately, well, look, the criminal is always at fault, right? Number one, the criminal is always at fault.
Okay.
But I think what's happened, it's more around stolen than lost. We just categorize it under lost and stolen. What's happening is that we're seeing an absolute prevalence again, and especially with debit cards, at an ATM. So bank customers go to an ATM, you want to do your transaction quickly, you want to get done and leave. Criminals are manipulating the ATM, so they'll either change the screen to a different language, they change it to contactless cards, so when you get there, it looks different. Alternatively, they may do something, tamper with the card reader where it goes in, and so you're a bit confused, and they come over and they offer you assistance. And in that process, and in very recent months, we found that they're not even swapping the card, they're actually stealing your card. What they do is that they come in and they very kindly offer you assistance, and they press the cancel button on the ATM so quickly, and the card comes out, and they remove it while they're talking to you and explaining something. The card's out in their pockets, and they say to you, all right, now it's fine, you can go ahead and put your PIN in, it should work now. In the meantime, your card is either somebody else's card that they've swapped, or they've got your card in their pocket. You put the PIN in, they remember the 4 numbers, they leave. Your transaction's not going to happen.
Absolutely.
They then leave, they say, sorry, you need to go to your bank, and they go off to the nearest ATM, and they now withdraw that money.
Absolutely.
Our advice is don't take help from anybody at an ATM, whether they're wearing a security guard's uniform or bank staff uniform.
Absolutely.
Don't take help at all.
Before you go, we have to talk about cash in transit, Roba.
Yes.
Decreasing. Oh, sorry, I read it the wrong way. Okay, well
So
done.
we very
Down
pleased.
22%.
And even in terms of cash loss, down 22%. Both were 22%. I think it's a very important thing because we had quite a spike in the early part of last year, and people saw it, it went viral all over. But the police have worked very closely, both South African law, South African Police Service, the DPCI, the Hawks, and the cash in transit companies working with the banks have actually come together and worked very closely together, looking at risk, both on the side from what law enforcement needed to deal with, what the CIT needed to deal with, and I think we're already seeing the benefits of that.
Absolutely, very well done on that front. Hopefully one day we'll live in a country where those things don't happen and you just go and collect your money. Kalyani, did I get that right?
Yes.
Kalyani Pillay, the CEO of SABRIC.